Welcome to lecture number 48 of the series Unreal 5 for Archviz, and in this lecture we'll work on blueprints for this interactive walkthrough menu. So let's get started. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to enable this interactive walkthrough menu so that when I'll click on this play button, I'll be able to see this menu. Because now if I'll play this level, we cannot see our interactive walkthrough menu, okay? So to enable this menu, what I'll do is let's go into the blueprints folder. I'll create a blueprint. I'll select actor and let's rename this blueprint as interactive walkthrough underscore blueprint. Okay, let's open this blueprint. I'll go into the event graph. I'll delete these two nodes and I'll connect this node with create widget node. Let's dock this window in here, and under this drop down menu I'll select this interactive walkthrough widget, this one. Okay, so this widget is now enabled, but we need to do one more thing to see that interactive walkthrough menu in our viewport. We need to connect this node with add to viewport node. I'll connect this node with this one. Yeah, I think this is okay. Let's compile this blueprint and let's bring this blueprint into the scene. I'll play this level. And now we can see our interactive walkthrough menu in our viewport. Okay, let's do one more thing. Let's select this option so that we can see our interactive walkthrough menu on full screen. Okay, let's press escape. I'll open this widget. Now what we need to do is we need to be able to switch between two modes. The first mode is the user interface mode, in which we'll be able to switch between different materials and turn on our TV or lights and everything. And the other one is the game mode, in which we'll be able to walk around our scene. Okay, so to toggle between these two modes, what I'll do is let's open this blueprint. I'll bring in spacebar key node. I'll type in keyboard space, yeah, this one, because we're going to use spacebar key to edit. Okay, and I'll connect this node with flip-flop node because we're going to toggle between the user interface mode and the game mode. Okay, and I'll connect this node with user interface and game mode, and I'm gonna connect this node with game mode only, this one. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna connect this node with the player controller, and I'll connect this node with this one as well. And we're also going to use our mouse cursor to click to switch between different materials and do some other stuff. So we need to bring in mouse input as well. Okay, so I'll connect this node with mouse cursor, this one. Okay, and I'll create a copy of this node, and I'll check this box, show mouse cursor, because I don't want to show the mouse cursor in the game mode. I only want to show my mouse cursor in the user interface mode. Okay, yeah, I'll connect this node with this one as well. Let's bring it here. Yeah, similarly I also need to enable my keyboard input. So for that I'll create a copy of this node, and I'm gonna connect this node with enable input node. I'll connect this node with this one, and I'll connect this node with this one. Make sure you connect this node with the player controller. I'll disconnect this one. Let's compile everything. and let's play this level. I think it's time we should disable this jump functionality for our first person character. Let's go into the first person folder. I'll open this blueprint, and these are the nodes that allow the character to jump. So I'll just disconnect all of them. Let's compile this blueprint. Let's play this level. And when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard, I'll go into the user interface mode. Now I'll be able to interact with this menu. But when I'll press spacebar again, now I won't be able to interact with this menu. Instead, I'll be able to walk around my scene, okay? I'll press escape on the keyboard. I'll remove this one. Now what I want is, I want to play this main canvas panel animation when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard. For that, what I need to do is, I need to hide all of these canvas panels, not only from this widget, but from the viewport as well, okay? So I'll open this graph editor. Let's delete these two. I'll connect this node with render opacity node. This one. And I'll select all of these canvas panels, and I'll check this box to allow them to act as variables, okay? I'll select this bedroom menu. I'll go into the event graph, and by pressing and holding Control on my keyboard, I'll bring in these canvas panels. Living room menu, living room lights, main canvas panel, TV switch, and the faucet simulation. Let's align all of these. And now I'll connect all of them with the target. Make sure your render opacity is set to 0. Let's compile this blueprint and let's play this level. And now we won't be able to see any canvas panel in our viewport, okay? The reason why I hide all of them is because we're gonna unhide them one by one as we need them. I'll show you why and how in a moment. Let's go into the blueprint. Let's move all of these nodes and place them here. And I'm gonna connect this node with the main canvas panel animation. I'll search for ANM and I'll select main canvas ANM. This animation, okay, this one. And I'll connect this node with play animation forward, and I'll also connect this node with play animation reverse. Let's connect this node with the target. And I'll connect this node with this one. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard, I'll go into the user interface mode, and I'll also play this main canvas animation, okay? And when I'll press spacebar again, it will play my animation in reverse, and I'll go back to the game mode, okay? We still need to do one more thing. We need to connect this node with our main canvas panel, and we need to connect this node with the render opacity node, because in this widget blueprint we have set the render opacity at 0, and now we need to set it at 1 so that we can see that animation, okay? I'll connect this node with this one. Let's create a copy. I'll connect this node with target, and I'll connect this node with this one. Okay. Now when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard, I'll go into the user interface mode, and I'll also play this animation, this main canvas panel animation, and it will also set my render opacity back to 1. And when I'll press spacebar key again, I'll go into the game mode, and my animation will play in reverse, and my render opacity will reset back to 0. Okay. Let's compile this blueprint, and let's play this level. Let's press spacebar on the keyboard, and when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard, I'll go into the user interface mode, and I can see all these buttons changing their render opacity from 0 to 1. And when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard again, I'll go back to the game mode, and all of these buttons will change their render opacity from 1 to 0. Okay. Yeah. Let's save everything. I'll increase this to 1 just to see the menu in the widget. I'll change this back to 0 before playing the level. Okay. I'll go into the designer tab. Let's compile everything. Yeah, now I can see my menu. Okay, so now what I want is, I want to play this animation when I'll click on this button. Okay, when I'll click on this button, I want this animation to play. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is, I'll go into the event graph, making sure this button is selected. I'll click on plus icon to bring in this node. Now this node will only run when I'll click on this button, this one. Okay. Okay, so when I'll click on this button, I want to change the render opacity of my bedroom canvas panel to 1. And what I also want is, I want to play this animation of this canvas panel. Okay, this one. Okay, so when I'll click on this play button, I want to set the render opacity of this canvas to 1, and I also want to play this animation, bedroom A and M. Okay. Yes. Let's compile everything. I'll go into the level. Let's play this level. I think I forgot to set the render opacity back to 0. So let's set the render opacity to 0. I'll compile this blueprint. Let's play this level. I'll press spacebar on my keyboard to go into the user interface mode, and I'll click on this button to play the bedroom canvas animation. Okay. Let's go back into the blueprint. I'll select all of them, and I'll press Ctrl D to create a copy. I'm gonna connect this node with flip-flop node, and I'm gonna connect this node with this one. I'll set the render opacity for this one back to 0, and I'll replace this forward animation node with reverse animation node. Okay, and I'll connect this animation with this one. Okay, let's compile everything. Now when I'll click on this button, it will set the render opacity for this canvas panel to 1, and it will also play this animation. Okay, and when I'll click on this button again, it will set the render opacity to 0, and it will play that animation in reverse. So let's run this blueprint. I'll press spacebar to enter the user interface mode, and I'll click on this button to run the canvas panel animation, and I'll re-click on this button to play that animation in reverse. Somehow we still cannot properly run this animation in reverse, and I think I know what the actual problem is. Let's open this blueprint, this one. And the problem is, when I click on this play button again, the render opacity turns to 0 before it can play the reverse animation. Okay, so I'll disconnect these two nodes and I'll bring in this node in here. I'll connect this node directly with my play animation reverse node, and I'll connect this node with this one. And what I'll also do is I'll place a delay node in between these two nodes. Okay, I think a delay of 0.2 will be okay. Let's now run this level. I'll press spacebar, and now when I'll click on this button, it will play my animation, and when I'll click on this button again, it will play my animation in reverse. Okay, we still have a problem. Somehow it disappears on its own, and the reason for that is, let's open the designer tab, and I mistakenly selected border instead of image during the creation of this menu. Okay, so I'll select all of them and I'll change the draw as setting to image. Let's compile everything. Let's play this level. I'll press spacebar, and now as you can see that we don't have any sort of problem with that button. Okay, so one final thing. Let's open the graph editor. Yeah. Okay, so the one final thing that we need to do is we need to connect this node with the bedroom canvas, and I'll connect this node with this one. And the reason why I'm doing so is because let's disconnect this one and this one as well. Let's compile everything and let's play this level. I'll press spacebar. I'll open this canvas panel, and now when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard, you can see that our bedroom canvas panel is still there even when all of the other buttons are gone. So for that, what I'll do is I'll connect this node with this one, and I'll connect this node with this one, so that when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard to go back into the game mode, it closes everything. Okay, let's compile this blueprint and let's play this level. I'll press spacebar to go into the user interface mode. I'll select this button, and now when I'll press spacebar on my keyboard to go back into the game mode, everything will disappear. Okay, yeah. Let's set this render opacity back to 1. I'll compile this. So similarly, just like we did for this particular button, we need to do the same thing for the others as well. Okay, so I'll go into the graph editor tab. Let's do one more together, and then I'll time lapse the others. I'll select all of these and I'll press Ctrl D on my keyboard to create a copy. Let's delete this one. I'll go back into the designers tab and I'll select this button. I'll bring in this node and I'm gonna connect this node with this one. I'll delete this bedroom menu canvas panel and I'll select living room menu canvas panel. Okay, similarly I'll delete this one as well. I'll duplicate this one and I'll connect this node with the target. I'll delete these two as well, and let's bring in living room animation. Okay, I'll connect this node with this one. Yeah, let's compile everything. Let's open this blueprint. I'm gonna connect this node with living room menu, and I'm gonna connect this node with this one. Let's compile this blueprint. Let's play this level. I think I forgot to set the render opacity back to 0. Okay, let's compile everything and let's play this level. Yeah, I think everything is perfect. Okay, so you need to do the same thing for the others as well. I'll just time lapse it. Okay. Okay, so I've worked on all of these buttons. Let's now play this level to see if everything is working properly. First, don't forget to set the render opacity back to 0. I'll compile everything and let's play this level. I'll press spacebar on my keyboard and we have a little problem with this button. We have a little problem with this one as well. Yeah, I think everything else seems to be okay. Let's now open the designer tab and let me first set the render opacity back to 1. I'll go into the designer tab and I'm gonna select this button. Yeah, I must have missed this one. Let's open the content browser and I'll add this image on this slot. Let's select this one and I'll add this image on this slot. Okay, let's go back into the event graph and I'll set the render opacity back to 0. Let's compile everything and let's play this level. Yeah, they're working okay. Yeah, okay. So yes, that's it for this lecture, and in the next lecture we'll learn how we can use this interactive walkthrough menu to switch between different materials. Okay, so yes, I'll see you guys in the next one.